Francesco Bagnaia'S confidence has returned. Francesco Bagnaia finally showed glimpses of his old self at the Hungarian Grand Prix 2025. Though he only crossed the line in 9th place during the main race, the result carried a significance far greater than the number on the standings sheet. For a reigning double world champion who had been struggling all season, finishing inside the top 10 felt like a small but meaningful victory. It was not about the points alone, but about rediscovering something he had been missing for months: confidence. The main race stood in stark contrast to the sprint the day before. In that shorter Saturday contest, Bagnaia could do no better than 13th, a disappointing result that once again raised questions about his form and his synergy with the GP25. Yet Sunday brought something different. There was determination in his riding, composure in his lines, and a sense that he finally trusted the bike underneath him. Gigi Dall'Igna, Ducati Corsa's general manager, did not hesitate to highlight this turnaround. For him, the Hungarian GP was less about finishing positions and more about Bagnaia'S psychological state. We made quite significant setup changes. Some of them we couldn't even test properly, but the outcome was encouraging, Dall'Igna explained. His words carried both relief and optimism. Ducati's willingness to gamble on new adjustments paid off, at least in terms of rider morale. Bagnaia'S confidence, once fractured, appeared to be piecing itself back together. This was crucial because throughout the first half of the season, Bagnaia looked like a shadow of the champion fans knew. He managed only 1 win and 7 podiums across 13 races, far from the level expected of him. While Marquez thrived in the same Ducati Lenovo outfit, Bagnaia appeared lost, unsure whether to attack or defend, often caught in hesitation mid-race. The comparison to Marquez made his struggles even more glaring. How could the same bike deliver domination in one pair of hands, but inconsistency in another? The answer, at least according to Dall'Igna, was confidence. A rider can have the best machinery in the paddock, but without belief in himself and trust in his setup, performance will always fall short. In Hungary, Bagnaia'S 9th place finish may not have shaken the championship standings, but it restored a sense of belief. It gave Ducati proof that their rider was mentally back in the fight. This mental recovery could prove more valuable than any technical upgrade. Once a rider regains confidence, lap times naturally drop, overtakes come easier, and racecraft flows with instinct. Bagnaia himself hinted at feeling more comfortable on the GP25 after Sunday's race, a subtle yet telling admission that something had finally clicked. With 228 points to his name, Bagnaia sits third in the championship. While Marquez has surged far ahead, Bagnaia'S realistic goal now is to finish the season strongly and perhaps fight for runner-up. But the question lingers: is Hungary the beginning of a true resurgence, or just a temporary flash of stability? Fans remain divided. Some argue that 9th place is still far below the expectations for a reigning champion. Others view it as a stepping stone, the kind of performance that can snowball into something greater. What cannot be denied is that Bagnaia looked different in Hungary. He no longer appeared defeated before the race even began. He rode with purpose, even when overtakes did not come easily. For Ducati, this was encouraging. Their efforts to rebuild Bagnaia'S trust in the GP25 showed progress, and that alone justified the risks they took with experimental setups. The next race in Barcelona, the Catalan Grand Prix, looms as the real test. If Hungary was the first step, Catalonia will be where Bagnaia proves whether he can sustain momentum. Barcelona is a track that traditionally suits Bagnaia'S style, with fast corners and heavy braking zones that reward smooth, calculated riding. If his confidence truly has returned, Catalonia could deliver a podium. That would silence many of his critics and reinforce his belief that he belongs at the sharp end of the grid. But if he falters again, then Hungary might be remembered as nothing more than a brief reprieve in a difficult season. Dall'Igna is certainly betting on the former. He knows that a confident Bagnaia is a dangerous weapon capable of challenging anyone, even Marquez at his peak. The hope is that with his confidence restored, Pecco can show himself as a true champion again, Dall'Igna remarked. His faith in Bagnaia has not wavered. That faith is not just sentimental, it is strategic. Ducati invested heavily in Bagnaia, and they need him to deliver, not only for points but for the prestige of having both riders fighting at the front. After all, Marquez's dominance this season has somewhat overshadowed Bagnaia'S accomplishments. Ducati does not want their champion to be remembered merely as Marquez's teammate. For Bagnaia, this is as much about personal pride as it is about results. He knows his legacy is at stake. 2 world titles already place him among the elite, but greatness in MotoGP is measured not only by past victories, but by resilience in times of struggle. The Hungarian GP may have been the first chapter in his redemption arc. Every comeback story begins with a single spark, and this could be his. Yet redemption is never linear. There will be setbacks, critics, and moments of doubt. The challenge lies in holding on to confidence even when results falter. Bagnaia must now balance caution with aggression. Too cautious, and he will miss opportunities. Too aggressive, and mistakes will creep back in. This balancing act is what makes MotoGP so unforgiving. Fractions of a second separate heroes from also rans. In Hungary, Bagnaia managed that balance better than he had in months. It was not perfect, but it was progress. Progress, in a season dominated by Marquez, might be enough to remind the world of Bagnaia'S quality. Fans want to see him fight, not necessarily to win every race, but to show grit, determination, and the spirit of a champion. That fighting spirit seemed absent earlier in the year. But in Budapest, there were flashes of it, and that alone has reignited hope. For rivals like Jorge Martin and Enea Bastianini, Bagnaia'S resurgence could spell trouble. A confident Pecco makes the Ducati camp even more formidable. For Marquez, it may add another layer of competition, though his current lead means he can afford to watch developments with a smile. Still, MotoGP is unpredictable. One crash, one mistake, one change in weather can turn the standings upside down. Bagnaia knows this well, which is why Hungary's result, modest as it was, could hold greater weight than most realize. Confidence is invisible on a timing sheet, but it is the foundation of every overtaking move, every daring brake maneuver, and every controlled drift. Without it, a rider second-guesses every decision. With it, he races on instinct as champions do. Bagnaia has raced on instinct before. He did it in 2022 and 2023 when he lifted the championship trophy. To rediscover that instinct now, at a time when many had begun to doubt him, could reshape his entire career trajectory. His body language after Hungary told its own story. No frustration, no visible despair, just determination to build on what he had achieved. For Ducati, this is invaluable. A motivated Bagnaia is easier to support, easier to strategize around, and easier to trust with bold development decisions. For the fans, it gives them hope that the championship battle won't be a one-man show. Even if Marquez remains untouchable, seeing Bagnaia in the mix adds excitement. Social media reactions after the Hungarian GP reflected this split. Some dismissed 9th place as insignificant. Others praised it as a sign of character. The truth, as always, lies somewhere in between. 9th place alone changes little, but the manner in which it was earned could be transformative. Bagnaia now faces the task of converting restored confidence into tangible podium finishes. Without results, the narrative of recovery will fade. Catalonia will therefore carry enormous pressure. A podium there could confirm that Hungary was indeed the turning point. Another mid-pack result, however, would reopen old questions and doubts. This is a tightrope Bagnaia must walk. Every race is both an opportunity and a test. His destiny is still within his control. With 228 points, he remains mathematically alive, even if Marquez's dominance has made the title a long shot. But MotoGP has taught us time and again, never count out a champion until the final race is run. Bagnaia knows that better than most. He has been written off before, only to rise again. The Hungarian GP may not have delivered fireworks, but it reignited a spark. That spark now has the potential to fuel a comeback story that fans and rivals alike will watch with bated breath. The question is, will Francesco Bagnaia turn that spark into a flame, or will it fizzle out before his redemption is complete?
Like, subscribe and comment.